Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head of the Department OB and HR, Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, Delhi. Today we will learn the module Performance Appraisal of the New Workforce. This module is from the paper Contemporary Issues in HRM and Future Trends. The learning outcomes of this module would be Introduction to the Performance Appraisal process, Performance Appraisal for the New Workforce, Problems that are associated with the Performance Appraisal of the New Workforce. After completing this module, the students would be able to understand the concept of performance appraisal, learn and overcome the problems associated with performance appraisal of the new workforce. This module focuses on the concept of performance appraisal for new workforce in the organization. It first looks at what performance appraisal means and what are the various methods in which it is carried out in the organization. Then we will look at the definition of the new workforce or workforce diversity in the current global scenario. Let's first understand what performance appraisal is. Performance appraisal refers to the systematic evaluation of the performance of employees and to understand the abilities of various employees for future growth and development. It is done to recognize the best performer and motivate others who are not performing well in the organization. To see what type of training is required for the employees who are not able to perform well, to understand whether the employee should be promoted, demoted or terminated in case there is no scope left for him or her to improve in the organization. Let us understand what a diversified workforce means. Since the companies are becoming more and more global these days, workforce diversity does not only mean that the gender differences or race or caste-based differences matter, but also the diversity that matters is based on the demography, age, religion, ability, cultures and beliefs. Companies hence must find the ways to embrace the changes that improve their businesses, as the more diversified the workforce is, the more better it is for the organization. Performance appraisal process. Performance appraisal is done by comparing the present performance with already established standards which have been communicated to the employees and subsequently providing feedback about the performance level for the purpose of improving individuals as well as organizations' performance. Techniques of performance appraisal. First is rating scale. A rating scale consists of several numerical scales representing the job related performance criteria such as dependability, attendance, output, etc. Each scale ranges from excellent to poor. Force distribution method talks about the assumption in which the performance of all the employees are confirmed to normal distribution. Critical incident methods focus on certain critical behaviors of employees that makes all the differences in the performance. Behaviorally anchored rating scales talks about the statements of effective and ineffective behaviors to determine the points. Comparative evaluation method, ranking and paired comparisons, is a collection of different methods that compare performance of the co-workers. Ranking method talks about the workers being rated on merit from best to worst. The checklist method tells us about the checklist of statement of traits of employees in the form of a yes or no based questions. Here, the rater only reports or checks but the actual evaluation is done by the HR department. Forced choice method talks about the series of statements that are arranged in the blocks of 2 or more, and the rater then indicates which statement is true or false. Here, the rater is forced to make a choice. Field review method is an appraisal done by someone outside the employee's own department, usually from corporate or the HR department. Performance tests and observations are based on the tests of knowledge or skills of the employees. An essay method talks about the rater who writes down the employee's description in detail within a number of broad categories. It is extremely useful in filling the information gaps about the employees that often occur in a better structured checklist. Cost accounting method tells us that the performance is evaluated from the monetary return yields to the organization. Management by objectives means the objectives and performance which is rated against the achievement of objectives stated by the management. Psychological appraisals talk about the appraisals that are more directed to assess an employee's potential for future performance rather than the past performance. Assessment centers were developed in the US and UK in 1943. It is a central location where managers come together to participate in job-related exercises evaluated by trained observers. It is much more focused on the observation of behaviors across. The 360-degree feedback is a systematic collection of performance data on an individual or group derived from supervisors, subordinates, team members, peers, self, and anyone who is connected with the employees and can provide relevant information, a series of work samples. How often should performance appraisal take place? Performance appraisal should be done at a specific period like annually or half yearly or quarterly or maybe regularly. It depends upon the nature and size of the organization. Managers may decide the period of performance appraisal of their employees. Now let us understand the performance appraisal for the new or the diverse workforce and focus on employee satisfaction survey, workforce plan, diversity policies and employee involvement. What exactly is an employee satisfaction survey? It looks at a customized employee satisfaction survey which can accomplish the assessment of employees effectively. It helps in determining which challenges or obstacles are present in the workplace because of the workforce diversity and which all policies can be added or removed, that is eliminated, to ensure better performance of the employees and the growth of the organization. A workforce plan can be created in the organization to assess the performance appraisal for the employees. A report can be made based on the survey that was done in the organization. A comprehensive report can then be used for the key decision-making process. This report is going to provide a basic structure of diversity in the organization and the workforce plan. Let's understand what are the different diversity policies. Ideally, there should be fixed policies and procedures for the performance appraisal of the diverse workforce in the organization. The top managers and leaders should incorporate these policies in every aspect of the organization's function and purpose. employee involvement is very important. It's also important for the top level management to involve all the employees in the organization to formulate and execute efficient diversity at workplace. It is important to keep every employee engaged and involved in every activity. In order to measure the performance of the employee, every employee should be included at the time of performance appraisal system. Now let us understand what are the problems that are associated with the performance appraisal. It is not global by nature. Most processes and forms are headquarters centric, failing to address the cultural, linguistic and legal differences. Second, forced ranking issues. Although forced ranking has some advantages, using it may result in significant morale and PR issues. Third, it does not assess actual performance. Most of the assessments that managers complete focuses on the person, including characterization of their personal traits, that is commitment, knowledge, that is technical knowledge, or behaviors, that is attendance. Fourth is infrequent feedback. If the primary goal of the process is to identify and resolve performance issues, executing the process annually becomes silly. Fifth, non-data based assessment. Most processes rely 100% on the memory of those completing the assessment because pre-populating the forms with the data to inform decisions would be too difficult. Sixth, lack of effectiveness matrix. Many accept that the goals of the process are to recognize results, provide feedback to address weaknesses, determine training needs, and to identify poor performers. Unfortunately, rarely do the process's owner ever measure the process's contribution to attaining any of these goals. Seventh, lack of accountability. Managers are not measured or held accountable for providing accurate feedback. Point 8. They are disconnected from rewards. In too many organizations, getting a merit raise, bonus or promotion is completely disconnected from an employee's performance appraisal score. Ninth, no integration. The process is not fully integrated with compensation, performance management, development or staffing, that is internal movement. 10. Assessments are kept secret. Although a salesperson's performance ranking may be posted on a wall, performance appraisals are often kept as a secret. 11th, it doesn't address diversity. All too often, the same appraisal form is applied to a large but not homogeneous group of employees. 12. The process does not flex with the business. Rarely does any portion of the appraisal process flex to address the changing business objectives. 13. Corporate cultural issues. Subjective appraisal can restrict the cultural change in the organizations. In some organizations, there are cultural norms and values that influence the performance appraisals. 14. Managers don't know the employees. Managers of large and global organizations as well as newly hired and transferred in managers may be forced to do appraisals on employee they barely know. Point 15. Managers don't own it. Managers often feel that they don't own the process, so they invest very little in it and proceed to blame HR for everything. 16. High anxiety. Because the process is so subjective and no benchmarking has been done, uncertainty can cause many employees high levels of anxiety weeks before the process. 17. A one-way communication. Some managers simply give the employees the form to quickly sign and they don't even solicit feedback. Many employees are intimidated by managers and the process, and as a result, they say nothing during or after the appraisal. 18 refers to self-assessment, which is not possible. If an ambitious employee wanted to self-assess their performance midstream in order to improve, most processes do not provide an access to the instrument. 19. It's a one-way process. In most cases, employees also have no input into the factors that they are assessed on, how often they are assessed, and what type of feedback they can receive. 20. It's a time-consuming process. Most of the forms are incredibly long and time-consuming, and as a result, some managers routinely recycle the last year's evaluation. Companies that use one-size-fits-all HR practice are not able to attain the growth in the market, as different individuals should be treated differently. With the new and diverse workforce in the organization, because of the global culture that is entering, the one-size-fits-all is preventing the organizations from attracting, retaining and leveraging the top talent. Thank you.